Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, hello, my name is Sarah and I'm so glad you clicked on today's video. Today we're going to be talking about my top 10 books that I read in 2021. Guys, I just read the part in Ugly Love, if you know what I'm talking about. I don't know if it's a good time for me to be filming this because I am like torn up right now, but we're gonna do it anyway. So 2021 was the first year that I really started reading again. My parents are both big readers and I was never a reader. Just because, I don't know, like I just was never into reading. But last year around like May, I feel like I got really into reading and I have not been able to stop since. So I read 19 books last year. I DNF'd 2. My goal was 10, so I almost doubled my goal. And I'm really proud of that. I know that's not a lot for some people. Like, I'm starting to be really active on my Bookstagram and people there have already read like 3 books in 2021 or 2022, and I'm like, it's the 7th, like it just started. But yeah, so I'm going to talk about my top 10 favorites. That means I only read 9 other books, but I'm still really proud of it. And this year my goal is 30 books, and I'm going to be alternating between physical TBR and Kindle TBR, just because, I don't know, I want to switch it up. So more on my Kindle in my recent reads video that I'll film after I finish Ugly Love. I can film that. I actually might be able to film that today. We'll see. But these are in no particular order. I decided that my top 10 is just like my top 10. So like it doesn't mean that I liked one better than the other. I'm just gonna pull from a pile and these were my top 10. They're all romances besides one, and nobody should be surprised because that's the genre I started out with. And I read a lot of romance still, but I'm also getting into other genres. But last year it was like almost strictly romance. So we're just gonna go from the top to the bottom. So the first one is The Summer Job by Lizzie Dent, and this one I don't really feel like was talked about. You can see it got some love. I took it to the lake when we went on vacation, like our yearly family vacation, and it's crispy because it was like by the water and everything. But this was one of my summer reads, obviously, and it got love. Like it went to the beach, like pop off. So this book is actually a like switch, I don't know what the trope is, like when they switch lives, but we follow a character named Birdie who switches jobs with her best friend, and her best friend is a sommelier, and she got this job at a like fancy resort a resort that's reopening, like trying to reimagine itself, and she's supposed to pretend to be her best friend. She knows nothing about wine, nothing about like any of the culture, and she basically decides that she's not going to like make any connections with anyone. The best way to do it is going to be for her to like stay completely like silent and just like keep her head down. But she meets some people along the way, and this is a romance, but it's not just a romance. It's also just about like friendship and finding your self-worth, because like Birdie's been through some stuff. And I freaking loved this book. I honestly don't know why more people haven't talked about it. It was one of my like for sure all-time favorites, and one of my favorite things about it was actually that it had so much imagery in it. Like I know every book has imagery, but I'm telling you, like this book, the imagery was like great. Like I could just imagine where they were, the scenery, everything, so good. So The Summer Job by Lizzie Dent is definitely top 10. A lot of these I feel like you're gonna be like, you're so basic because everybody's been talking about them, but I really don't care because a good book's a good book. People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I love this book. I read Beach Read in 2020. Maybe 20, yeah, whatever year it came out is when I read it. And so I knew I loved Emily Henry. She still remains one of my top 10. She remains one of my top favorite authors ever, but this book was so good. I liked Beach Read better. It was set in Michigan and my family's from Michigan, so, but this one was really cute. So we follow Poppy and Alex, who have been best friends since college, and every year they decide to take like a vacation together until one year something happens and they decide to stop going. She decides that they're going to take one last vacation, and it's either going to work out and they're going to be friends again, or they'll just like never speak again. So I would say the only thing about this was like the thing that took them apart originally was just not that dramatic in my opinion, which that's the only thing I'll say. It just wasn't that dramatic. But guys, perfect beach read, perfect little, I don't know, not little, she's kind of fat, but perfect beach read, so cute, and I really liked the characters. The vacation, some of them were boring, some of them weren't, but I don't know. It was still like top 10. Like I could not make a top 10 video without Emily Henry in it. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of how I felt. So as for my only non-romance book in my top 10 of 2020. One is Finlay Donovan is Killing It by El Casamino. This book was so good. It's a satire. Basically, we follow Finlay, who is a struggling single mom who is trying to get custody of her children, but she's a struggling author and does not make a lot of money until she meets with her publisher at a Panera, and she is overheard by someone who thinks she's a contract killer even though she's an author. And she decides to look into it, but not like commit it, just look into it, and basically everything goes wrong. So this book was amazing. It was so well written, so funny, so juicy. Like, I could not put it down. And it was set in the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area, which was really funny because it's mostly set in Northern Virginia, which is a very rich area near where I live. And it's just funny because, like, I feel like this is what would happen there. You know what I mean? Like, sketchy stuff. Like, I don't know, like contract killers, like wives wanting to kill their husbands for like dumb reasons, you know? My next favorite is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This is my first Tessa Bailey read, and ever since I read this one, I have bought basically all of her books she's ever written. And I even read it, Window Shopping around Christmas, which is technically, I think, a novella. I don't know, but yes. So It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey is supposed to be a Schitt's Creek inspired book. Our heroine is supposed to be Alexis inspired. Her name's Piper Bellinger, and she's actually coming out with, yeah, hasn't come out yet, the sequel that involves her sister. But Piper is like an influencer, and her stepdad kind of like funds her whole life, and she basically gets in trouble one night at a party, and her stepdad sends her off to the town that her father was from. Her father has since passed, and it's a small fishing village in the PNW, I'm pretty sure. And she meets this guy, and she's like very fancy and bougie, and he's a fisherman, and obviously it's a romance, so we know. But, you know, count on Tessa Bailey for some steam, good plot lines, character development. I mean, really, this book is so good. Some people said they didn't like it. I don't know who you like. Did we read the same book? Because this is amazing. And then I wanted to mention Red, White, and Royal Blue. This was one of my first reads actually that I read, I feel like. It was a thick one. I think she's like over 400 pages. But this is a gay romance, and basically there's a female president of the United States, and her son, she's also, I guess, I don't know if she's Hispanic, but her son is like half Hispanic, and she is like grooming him to become the next president of the United States. And basically he has a rivalry with Prince Henry, which from like across the pond, obviously. And so they just have this rivalry, they hate each other, and as a as a publicity scene stunt, I guess, they their parents decided that it would be best for them to pretend that they like each other, to like make it so that both of them still appear to be good in the public eye, essentially. And they end up falling in love, and it's just about how it's a love story, but it has acceptance, it has diversity, it has all the things. I feel like Jonathan Van Ness saying like it has. But yeah, this book, so good. Then we have Wait For It by Jen McKinley. This was, I think, she wrote Paris Is Always a Good Idea, and this one I don't feel like a lot of people talked about either. I feel like I heard about this from Bookables maybe, but basically we follow Annabelle, who has been married like 3 times by the time she's 30 or something like that, and she just is like looking for a new life, and she's offered her dream job at her best friend's like firm, basically, graphic design firm, yeah. And they say that they have the housing set up for her and everything's all good to go, and she ends up being curious about her landlord because she like lives in this small house on his property, and romance. But he's a very popular guy and helps her through a lot of stuff. And this book was just I think I cried because the ending was so cute, and it was just about how she started over and made a new life for herself, and like didn't give up on him because he's been through some hardships in life, and they kind of like helped heal each other in a cheesy way. Loved. And then another one of my top 10s was Shipped by Angie Hockman. I had low expectations for this book because I don't like the cover, unpopular opinion, But basically, people say it's like On Honeymooners meets The Hating Game. I don't really agree with that. But we follow Finlay, who is up for a promotion at her like small cruise ship company, like I guess it's a cruise ship company, yeah. And her arch nemesis Graham is also up for the same promotion. And so basically whoever can pitch the director who's like putting them up for the promotion the better, what is it called? Ecotourism pitch for the Galapagos wins the promotion. So they end up going on the cruise together to the Galapagos and trying to beat each other because they hate each other and they're up for this promotion. But in the end, romance. So everyone said that they didn't like the end of this book because it was like a weird way to go with it. I disagree. I freaking loved the ending. I think it was juicy and fun and top 10. My next one is Meet Me in Paradise by Libby Hubsher, I believe that's how you say her last name. This one is very sad, trigger warnings for cancer and things like that. But we follow Marin, and her mother died on a photo assignment, I think, or she was a travel something, and she died on assignment. And she decided she's never gonna leave her home in Tennessee ever again, but her sister goes out and travels all the time. And basically she gets sent with her sister on a trip, but it turns out that her sister is actually tricking her into getting out of her comfort zone, and she ends up falling in love with the island and everything about it and someone there. And basically her sister made this trip so that when she died, her sister wouldn't be alone and she would have people on this island. So this was really sad. I cried during this one too, but I don't know. It was so like beautifully written, so well done. I don't know, I've never read anything else by her, but this was like top, like 10 out of 10, loved so much. Deals with a lot of difficult topics though, so just know that. And then this one's probably gonna come to no surprise, The On Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. Olive and her arch nemesis, I think he was, and they were at her sister's wedding, and everyone at the wedding got sick besides her. Everyone gets sick besides her and Ethan, and they have to go on the honeymoon trip because her sister won it for free and she doesn't want it to go to waste. So they go on this island and they hate each other, and then it's hate to love. So I don't want to give too much away, I never do, but love. And then I didn't order the book's top 10 because it's just like everyone's top 10, but if I had to rate #1 favorite book of the year, Float Plan by Trish Dollar. This book was so good. It's pretty short and it's everything. She actually came out with a sequel for it, but I like, this book is everything. For one thing though, just know the cover looks very cheery and it's not. Trigger warning for suicide, but basically we follow Anna, and her fiance has killed himself, but they promised each other they were going to go on this sailing trip before he died. And so she decided she's going to go on the trip without him and fulfill his dream. But she realizes she can't sail, so she hires Keen, who knows how to sail. And she doesn't want to fall in love, and honestly, it's not about the love. It's about a journey of self-discovery and healing, and it's amazing. So, loved. So those were my top 10 books in 2021. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, everyone.